Sid, there is an enormous amount of talk this week about border security. The president says he's going to send anywhere between 4,000 and 6,000 National Guard troops down to the border. You're a Texan. You're right there on the border. Biggest border in America. Is that a good idea?
You know, I think it is. I served it before I was Commissioner of Agriculture. I served in the Texas House 12 years, and I was Chairman of Homeland Security, and my charge was to secure the Texas border, so I'm somewhat familiar with that. Here's the deal, Governor. The people of the United States elected Donald Trump to build the wall and to secure the border, so it's high time that they let him do that.
The caravans that were on their way to the border earlier this week seems to have been dispersed. Do you feel like that may have happened in part because of the anticipation there were going to be troops on the border waiting for them when they got there?
Well, obviously so. When you hear there's going to be 6,000 United States, armed guard there from the National Guard, I would want to think twice before I took on the United States military.
I think you're right that simply the thought that the military would be there probably was a huge deterrent. There's, talk that we don't need to have strict borders because criminals don't get across the border. But what do you see in Texas? Do criminals get across the border?
They certainly do. I mean, while I was chairman, we actually reconstituted the Texas Navy and put the gunboats on the Rio Grande and in the Gulf down there because there was so much violence, so much contraband. The cartels are, everywhere down there. And that's our real fight is the cartels.
Another big issue this week, Sid, has been the trade issue, primarily with China. You're the ag commissioner of one of the biggest agricultural states in the country, one of the biggest agricultural producers in the world. Are you worried about a trade war and how it affects agriculture in your state?
Well, I'll tell you and your listeners what I tell the farmers and ranchers. Farmers have a tremendous amount of patience, so they need to exercise patience. This is not happening today. It's just what I call smack talk, like a couple of fighters the week before the big prize fight. It's just smack talk, nothing solid. And the reason I say it's smack talk, beef, they want to tax our beef. Well, we hadn't sold them any beef in 14 years. We just got approved to send U.S. beef back over there in June. We haven't even sent them any yet. Cotton is the second biggest crop in Texas. China has more cotton than they can use. They have a 3-year supply in storage, so it's not a market for us. Soybeans, we are already losing that soybean market, not because of the tariffs, but because South American market is much cheaper. So just everybody take a breath, catch yourself, be calm. We have a businessman for president. He makes good deals or he walks away from them, and we haven't had good deals in a long time, and I'm very hopeful under this administration that we'll cut that $375 billion with China.
Sid, what you just said I think is a point a lot of Americans miss. We've been on the short end of the trade stick for quite some time, and China has taken advantage of us, and most of us have been for years saying this is unfair. We ought to all be playing by the same rules, whether it comes to labor, the environment, the manner in which our products are exported, the way government subsidizes them. There are a host of ways that China has been cheating over the years, and I don't think the president wants to enter in a trade war, but what he does want to do is to say to China, and frankly to everybody, a competitive marketplace is good, but when the guys in the striped jerseys start putting on a team jersey and playing for one team over the other, and we're not regulating fairly, that's not free trade. So what you just said, I think, may be a calming word to a lot of people who are nervous that this is going to wreck the economy.
Well, and the markets are very reactive, but they'll level out. And this tariff thing is only one leg of the three-legged stool, Governor. We have intellectual property problems where they have, illegally obtained that. That has to stop. And the currency manipulation to stop too. So that it's not just the tariffs. All those three things together have to be addressed. I admire this president and he's addressing that. And I think we'll get those fixed.
Sid, I want to thank you for joining us. I mean, a person who's the agricultural commissioner of Texas, clearly dealing with two big topics that we've seen this week. Border security and all that entails, and also the trade situation with China and how that's going to affect our agricultural markets. You're a perfect guest for us to have here as we talk about those things. Thank you so much for joining us from Texas tonight.
Thank you, Governor. Anytime. God bless you.
And you can follow Sid Miller on Twitter @MillerForTexas, and learn about the great work that he's doing in the Lone Star State at MillerForTexas.com.